Good morning. So, real talk for a minute. Do you ever get to the point where someone, or where you feel like someone is really just trying to get you riled up? Just like everything that they can do is just to push your buttons? Do you ever really feel like you have a hard time responding to that kind of a situation in a Christ-like way? I can say for sure that yes, I do feel like my buttons get pushed quite a bit because I have 3 kids. All jokes aside, I can remember when I first gave my life to God and people started to find out about it. It seemed like they would almost want me to slip up. Maybe I was just being paranoid, but that's how it really felt. A great example of this, I can remember reading my Bible, and this person that I knew that knew how I was, and that I had recently gotten saved, began talking to me and started to heavily use God's name in vain. And I mean excessively, much more than what was normal for that person. It seemed like they really wanted to use that type of language to see if it would offend me. And it did. I was just really trying my best to ignore it. Now, the world does this sort of stuff to us, maybe in a hope to bring us down to their level. Well, I hate to be the one that has to say this, but just because we are a Christian does not mean by any means that we are in some way better than anybody else that's out there in the world, even somebody who excessively uses God's name in vain. Romans 3:23 says, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." I am choosing to follow God and to try to live my life according to what the Bible says. But I am still human. I am still imperfect. I am still a sinner. No better than anybody else. In fact, I often feel like I am much worse than anybody else that I know. If you call yourself a Christian, then you should know that you are no better than any other person that you know. Even though we may realize this, it doesn't stop the world from still trying to push us. Regardless, we still need to try to reflect Christ with our actions, and just like the Bible tells us to do. Something comes to mind when the world wants to see us mess up or pick on us a little bit. And it comes out of John 8, and it's 1 through 6. It says, "But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Now, early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and all of the people came to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and the Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, 'Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery, in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say?' This they said, testing him, that they might have something of which to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger, as though he did not hear." Jesus does something here that can often be very difficult for us to do. He ignores. Jesus realizes what they are trying to do is to push his buttons, to get him to make a mistake, and Jesus just ain't wanting to deal with it. One of the most difficult types of patience can often be silence. When we are being baited into a mistake, it's important that we don't waste our time with the senselessness. Maintaining our composure is very important while reflecting Christ. And yes, in fact, I do remember when Jesus was flipping tables in the temple. But the difference is, Jesus wasn't in the wrong there either. He was calling out the wrong that was going on in God's house. Here we see that there is no sense in giving the scribes and the Pharisees what they want. This is why the situation is different, because Jesus is showing patience. And also, we really can't forget what Jesus says with his awesome little counter to their bait that they have when they won't leave him alone. That comes following all of that in verse 7. "So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, 'He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first.'" Masterfully said. No pun intended. Now, please don't mistake when I say that we need to be silent, that we should, please do not mistake that when I say that we need to be silent, we should not say that we are followers of Christ. We need to show the world that we are different, especially when we are trying to maintain a good attitude. When we get bullied, then we still need to remember that the kindness can be a valuable tool in showing people what Jesus is really all about. There's a good chance that whoever may be trying to hurt your feelings or push your buttons after they find out that you are a Christian might have had a bad experience with, quote, Christian people, or church people, however they want to say it. Maybe those church or Christian people, in quotation marks, really hurt this person who is now trying to hurt you. Now, at this point, we should help this person redefine what Christian really is, starting with our temperance and attitude of kindness towards them while they are hurting us. Imagine that. Your actions could change someone's life forever. You could be the very first one to show them the love of Jesus. You could be the first one to help them start on a journey to God. Maybe you won't help them to pray and accept God in that exact moment, but you could be the first change that they needed in order to be able to make that possible. You could make that difference in their life just by showing them patience and kindness that they have never seen before. Proverbs 16 and 24. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody. Proverbs 16 and 24. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. And if you don't have kind words to reply back with, probably it's best not to say anything. Don't give anybody a reason to think that all people that they say are Christians or what they think are Christians are the same. Show them that they true followers of Christ are truly different. Show them a love like they have never seen before. Reflect Christ. Now, originally, at this point in my notes, I thought I was done. But when I went to go record this, which would have been last night, Friday night, I started to feel like I wasn't done. So I began to write a little bit more. So this is the continuation of what I had written down. So on the subject of reflecting Christ, which ways are you reflecting? Have you been showing the world a light as you should be doing, or have you been leaving a bitterness in others' opinions of Christians? As imperfect people, we will fail. We will have moments of weakness and constant struggles. But those weaknesses and struggles are there for a reason. God is allowing them into our life for a reason. God is all-knowing, so He knew what challenges we would face. The thing is, God also knows how to turn a disadvantage into an advantage. The battles we face today could be the victories that we tell of tomorrow. Even the smallest of victories even the smallest of victories may speak the loudest volume to someone you haven't even met yet. What we think is an end may be where God is just getting started. A small act of kindness may be the most love that a person has felt in a very long time. The short version of what I'm trying to say here is this is cause and effect. Reflection of Jesus is so important because of the reaction that happens when bitter people see the love of Christ in return from a hurtful action. I feel like I'm beginning to ramble a little bit here, so I'm going to wrap this up. Begin to study how Jesus acted, His approach to people, His love, His care, His peace, His fill in the blank, if you will. And when you begin to study Him, begin to show people the same love and devotion that He had for other people. You know what? That statement is wrong. It's not what He had. It's has. Show people the same love and devotion that He has and that you should also have. Let the world see that in you. Let the world see what you are reflecting. Show them Jesus.